fans and fans of Indiana Jones. Welcome to Rotten Tomatoes Countdown. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny has finally arrived, and with it comes the end of an iconic film franchise that has spanned 5 decades and 5 films. So I guess that makes it officially a 5-ology, or maybe like a 5-some. Actually, that sounds like a different kind of movie. Either way, we are here to count down all 5 Indiana Jones movies, ranked by Tomato Meter, of course, here on Rotten Tomatoes Countdown. So get your outfit ready, and with the tip of our fedora hat, we shall begin. Starting with number 5, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. This 5th and final installment in the film franchise takes place in 1969, where Indy, once again played by the Harrison Ford, and can I just say, this man is studly. Anyway, he is in a race against time to recover a legendary dial that can change the course of history, which sounds pretty serious. Now, this time around, he's joined by his goddaughter, played by none other than Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who seems to be the perfect companion for bouncing off ornery one-liners and going on death-defying chases through small villages.
How did you end up like this?
I mean, resourceful, daring, beautiful, self-sufficient!
Seriously, nobody can deliver a one-liner like Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Now, joining Ford is John Rhys Davis and Karen Allen, reprising their roles as Salah and Marion Ravenwood from earlier films, along with additional newcomers played by Antonio Banderas and Mads Mikkelsen, the latter of which plays a former Nazi who works for NASA, aka the bad guy. And I gotta say, Mads, you got a record for being good bad guys. Now, this is actually the lowest rated film in the series. Of course, the easy explanation would be that this is the first and only one not directed by Steven Spielberg and without a story by George Lucas. They are both credited as executive producers instead, but that would be writing off director and co-writer James Mangold, whose resume made him very qualified for the job. Ultimately, while the nostalgia of seeing Ford back in indie action one more time is great, critics are of the consensus that the adventures just aren't as thrilling anymore. Sad face emoji. Number 4, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Ah yes, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the one with the aliens and Shia LaBeouf, and the one critics seem to like but fans not so much. Now, this one takes place 19 years after The Last Crusade, and it's actually set in 1957, where Indy searches for a telepathic crystal skull while going up against Soviet KGB agents led by Cate Blanchett. Now, Karen Allen reprised her role as the love interest, Marion Ravenwood, from Raiders of the Lost Ark, who now shares a son with Indiana named Mutt, played by Shia. And while there are plenty of similarities revealed between father and son, a fear of snakes is not one of them.
Grab on. Look, grab it.
Grab it, Indy.
It's a rat snake.
Rat snake from that bitch.
Well, this one is, all right? It's not even poisonous. Now grab on.
Go get something else.
Like what?
Like a rope or something.
There's no Sears and Roebuck here. Grab the snake.
Maybe I can touch the bottom.
There is no bottom. Now grab it. Grab
No, I
it.
think I can feel it with my feet.
Grab the snake.
I'm calling it that.
It's a snake. What do you want me to call it?
Say rope.
What?
Say grab the rope.
Grab the rope.
Now, the idea of a son came about after old Indy was revealed to have a daughter in the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, which was a TV show from the 90s. By the time this movie happened, Spielberg thought that the daughter idea was too similar to a storyline in the Lost World Jurassic Park, so instead he made it a son, or shall we say, a mutt. Thanks for that, Steve. Now, Ford was 64 at the time and still put in a few hours a day at the gym to prepare, to go along with his bullwhip training, obvi. And thanks to stunt technology coming a long way since the 80s, he actually performed a few of his own to help improve his performance, and we would expect nothing less from the studly Harrison Ford. Now, of course, Ford was praised by critics in his certified fresh offering, while things like the dialogue, storyline, and CGI overkill were kind of criticized. Number 3, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So this marks the second film in the franchise, but it's considered a prequel to avoid having Nazis as the villain again, and is set a year or so before the events of Raiders of the Lost Ark, which came out a few years prior. Stick with me here. Now, for this adventure, Dr. Jones teams up with a nightclub singer played by Kate Cupshaw, who would go on to marry the film's director, Steven Spielberg. I love a Hollywood romance. Now, also, along for the ride to recover a precious gem and several kidnapped boys was 12-year-old Short Round with a memorable performance by Ke Huy Quan, who was selected from nearly 6,000 actors. Now, also making an appearance in this film was Harrison Ford's buff arms, like in this famous scene on the bridge. Okay, I'll stop now.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Is he nuts?
You know nuts. He's crazy.
Molaram, prepare to meet Khalid in hell. Oh! Put out the way! You fool!
Lucas, who's credited with Temple of Doom story, teamed up with writers Willard Hoyk and Gloria Katz from American Graffiti, rather than his Raiders collaborator Lawrence Kasdan. Now, the result was more harsh reviews from critics, at least initially, who thought it was too dark and violent. But the critical opinion has improved over the years, citing its imagination and intensity. I mean, people's opinions are allowed to change and evolve over time? No way! Number 2, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So this 1989 film set the tone for a strong third installment with an opening prologue that features one River Phoenix as young Indy and gives a short origin story for the character. Now from there, present-day Indy embarks on a search for a holy grail, and in the process stumbles upon another archaeologist who had disappeared trying the same thing. His own father, played by Sean Connery. And together they partake in the age-old father-son tradition of evading Nazis.
Crusade, mein Herr. Back. Tickets, please.
Fast.
No ticket.
Now, director Steven Spielberg, who called this his favorite Indy franchise, was looking to recapture the tone of Raiders of the Lost Ark, so he brought back Indy's friends John Rhys Davies as Salah and Denholm Elliott as Marcus Brody. Now, what Spielberg got was a certified fresh hit, the highest-grossing movie of 1989, and an Oscar for Best Sound Effects Editing. And with that, critics sung high praise for Last Crusade's pacing, suspense, strong themes, and the aforementioned Connery, aka another big star for Harrison Ford to shine with. It also just kind of feels like their father and son in real life. Maybe that's just me. Number 1, Raiders of the Lost Ark. What was once called The Adventures of Indiana Smith was first dreamt up by George Lucas in the mid-70s. He would go on to team up with director Steven Spielberg, along with a few other Hollywood earth movers at the time, and in 1981, we got Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, after beating out names like Bill Murray, Nick Nolte, Jeff Bridges, and Tom Selleck, this actually marked Harrison Ford's first run as renowned archaeologist Dr. Jones. He's hired by the US government to find the Ark of the Covenant, which is also being sought after by Hitler. And from there, with thanks to a whip and a leather fedora, a major action franchise and hero was born. Now, along with introducing a few characters that we would meet again, like Marion and Salah, this was also the first ever feature film for Alfred Molina, who played a guide. And his first day of filming involved him being covered with tarantulas. Welcome to show business. I could never. Now, Raiders of the Lost Ark has the highest tomato meter and audience scores in the franchise, and it's the only one to receive an Oscar nomination for Best Picture. It also went on to become the highest grossing film of 1981, beating Superman 2, and well, I just gotta say, that is stupendous. All right, my friends, that is all 5 Indiana Jones flicks ranked by Tomato Meter. We'll see you in another 15 years when Harrison Ford does one more. I'm kidding, but maybe not. Now, for more on this long-standing franchise and its very fresh installments, head on over to RottenTomatoes.com. Thank you so much for checking out today's list. I love when you guys listen to these. Until next time, I'm your host, Naz Perez, and we'll see you back here for more Rotten Tomatoes Countdown.